guy. He's not old enough to vote, not old enough to drive, not in high school, only 12 years old, Christian Fernandez, and now facing very serious adult allegations, accused in the beating death of his 2-year-old brother back in March. And yesterday, he became the youngest person ever in Duval County to be indicted on murder charges. That is a lot of people asking, is he too young? Joining me to discuss this issue, Audrey Dearborn, a local mental health counselor, and we appreciate you coming in today. This is what Angela Corey said. She said the only way that we can trust that we can fashion any kind of sentence to try to help either the community or this young boy is to try him first-degree murder in the adult system. And let's talk a little bit about a 12-year-old. What type of mental capacity do they have at that age, and how does he really understand what he did?
Well, in my opinion, a 12-year-old does not really comprehend in terms of life and death. He doesn't really understand that when you hit someone, they could die and they would never come back again. The finality of life is not really known to them because they're watching TV all the time and they see the bad guy get shot several times and then he gets up and he walks away and he's fine. And so he doesn't really understand when he hits someone. He's angry and he's just responding to his anger. He doesn't understand that that's a final act.
The consequences he may not be able to rationalize. I think people sitting out here, and I've looked at some of the comments in our story on news4jax.com, and a lot of people are asking about the home situation as far as the mom, who has also been charged in this. What role does she play in this?
Well, from the articles that I've been reading and all that I've heard about the situation, it seems like the mother did not respond in a timely manner. She waited with the child, not even knowing if the child was dead or alive. And apparently the children were left alone in the home, and he was the caregiver.
Which is a tough situation. You have a 12-year-old having to make adult decisions from the jump. Right. So he's being housed with juveniles right now in Duval County Jail, and he's also going to have access to a counselor. So he won't be in general population, but right. Gosh, you're thinking about, you see his face, that baby face, this young boy now facing real adult consequences.
Yes, it's pretty harsh, and, to take him out of his home and away from the only environment that he's familiar with and to put him in a lockup situation when he's not really sure about what happened and not really understanding the situation, I think is extremely harsh to begin with.
And we don't know all the circumstances surrounding this. Obviously they have information we're not privy to yet, so we'll have to see how all of this unfolds. But we had a case out in Arizona, an 8-year-old who shot and killed his father, and that young boy, they still have not decided whether or not to charge him as an adult. So these are similar situations, the age difference about 4 years, but still a young person in this situation killing an adult. Why is this now happening a little more frequently?
Well, I think that there's a lot of anger today. I mean, you only need to get in your car and drive down the street and see the anger in people and how they drive recklessly, or go into a store and hear the comments that are made to clerks and, and people just walking by, to know that there's a lot of anger, a lot of violence in our society today, and it's publicized. It's not like years ago when we didn't hear about everything that was going on. So we see all this anger, and it seems almost a normal way to respond now.
Right. Now, as a parent, and we have a lot of moms and dads out there listening, appalled at this, what type of signs should parents be looking out for? How can they shield their children from some of that violence?
Well, the best thing, of course, is to monitor the TV. The other thing is just to be a very concerned parent, to be on top of everything. I mean, to know what your child is doing in school, to know who he's hanging out with, to know his habits, to make sure that he's governed. And children need guidelines, to give them good, sensible guidelines. Parents are the bumpers on the road of life, and they need to be there for the child to give them those guidelines, to explain to them that it's not right to hit your brother.
Okay. So no matter how mature the child is, they are still children. We have to remember that. Audrey Dearborn, thank you so much for coming in,
You're
sharing
welcome.
your thoughts with us.
Welcome.